Hi everybody, this is Mr. Karlovsky and I want to do a quick introduction to the basic trigonometric functions. We're going to begin with a circle. Try and draw it pretty well. That's pretty good. And imagine that circle being on our coordinate plane centered at the origin. Okay, now that circle has a generic radius of r. Well, that means that for any point on the circle with a generic coordinate x comma y, from a Pythagorean relationship or the distance formula or just the good old-fashioned equation of circles, we would have that the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate related to the generic radius. We would have this relationship that x squared plus y squared equals r squared. That's an identity that will come in handy in the future. Now the trigonometric functions, there are 6 of them, and they are defined as follows. Well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to think about that this triangle that is drawn, there is an angle theta that can be represented there by the origin. Can think of it as a rotation of from straight to the right along the positive x-axis, that angle theta can be rotated to our generic point, and it could have been rotated up, down. We'll get more into that later. Basically, I want to get to you the trig functions, and they are as follows. Related to that angle theta, we have the sine of theta is defined as the y value divided by the r value. The cosine of theta is the x value divided by the r value. And the tangent of theta is the y value divided by the x value. Now those are the 3, I would say, kind of basic trig identities or trig functions. And so then we have 3 others, and you'll see that they don't seem terribly useful at the moment, but they will come in handy down the line, is they are strictly the reciprocals of the 3 trig functions I just wrote down. I'm going to do it across. So the reciprocal of the sine function is called the cosecant function, or cosecant of theta. So that is just r over y. The reciprocal of cosine is the secant of theta. So that would be r over x. And then the reciprocal of tangent is the cotangent of theta, x over y. Now again, I use the word reciprocal, so you think, why do we have to define if it's just a reciprocal? And we'll see that as we continue our investigation into trigonometry. Now, you will remember, or maybe you remember, that you did do something once with the unit circle. Now, that's great. The unit circle, by definition, has a radius of 1. So of all circles of any radius, sometimes we focus on the unit circle of radius 1. And if we do that, which we don't have to, but it will come in handy, you'll see that at least a couple of these trig ratios become a little easier. Oh, instead of y over r, it'll just be y over 1. Or instead of x over r, it'll just be x. Same thing here, 1 over y, here 1 over x. But again, that's only in that purple if the radius is 1. So some people memorize the 2 different ways. To me, I like to start with the generic radius r, and in the future we'll go to a radius of 1 for the unit circle. Okay, this is the basic of the trig functions, and we'll learn and use them more in the coming days and weeks. See you in class.